projectile motion, we'll be using all the concepts of vectors that we have studied in projectile motion. So projectile basically would be any object which is thrown near the Earth's surface, and if it moves along a curved path, basically if it is moving only under the action of gravity, when the object is moving only under the action of gravity, we call it a projectile. Okay? So obviously that's a very hypothetical situation, because at all times some amount of drag, air resistance is always going to act on the object. But we can say that when only the significant force is only gravity and no other significant force is acting, then the motion of object under the action of gravity alone is called as projectile motion. Right? Now, when we are talking about projectile motion, there are various kinds of projectiles which you can think of. Like consider this situation. In case one, a person is dropping something from a height. So that's also an example of projectile. If a person is throwing something towards a certain height, that is also an example of projectile motion. Now in situation 2 and 3, you can see when the person is throwing the object. In case 2, this is case 2, this is case 3. In case 2, he is throwing it vertically upwards, whereas in case 3, he is throwing the object at a certain angle with the horizontal. Okay, so if this is horizontal, if this is your horizontal direction, then the projectile is being thrown at a certain angle with the horizontal. Fine. So based upon how the object is moving, whether it is being dropped from a height, whether it is being projected vertically upwards, whether it is being projected at a certain angle to the horizontal, we can analyze the motion accordingly. Now, consider this. If we are talking about a bullet being fired, so if there was no gravity acting on it, the motion would be along a straight line. But that's not the case, because gravity is bound to act, because of which the path of this bullet will not stay horizontal. It will become a parabola. You've studied parabola in class in mathematics or not?
Yes.
Now?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So it means that you are aware of what are the equations of a parabola, right? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So if there was a gravity free path, object would have moved along path 1, but that's not the case, because gravity is always bound to act. So the path which will be taken will not be a straight line, but instead it becomes a parabola. And this path which is taken by a projectile is called as trajectory. It is called as trajectory, the path which is taken by a projectile. Now there are certain conditions that we take while analyzing projectile motion. Now, one of the very, very important condition is whenever we are considering motion along horizontal direction and along vertical direction. See, we know that projectile is going to move in a plane. It will have it will cover some distance along the x-axis and some distance along the y-axis, because it is going, if a particle is traveling like this, it is traveling forward also, and it is moving upward and downward also. So in that case, the motion along x-axis is totally independent of the motion along y-axis, right? So the motion along horizontal direction, we will consider that it will move along the horizontal direction with uniform velocity. By uniform velocity, so any motion which is along the x-axis will be considered uniform motion. There is going to be no acceleration for the simple reason that projectile is moving only under the gravitational force. So if it is moving, we know that for an object to have acceleration, we know force is mass into acceleration. So for an object to have acceleration, there has to be some force. So if we are considering that projectile motion is motion of an object only under the effect of gravity, that and gravity will act along the vertical direction, that is your y-axis. It is going to pull the object downward. So if the gravity is going, force of gravitation acts along the y-axis, it will not change the velocity along the x-axis. Okay, because there is no force which is acting along the x direction. The only force which is acting is gravitational force, which is acting along the y direction. So motion along x-axis would be uniform motion, whereas motion along y-axis would be obviously accelerated motion. And these two motions are independent of each other. Means that motion along the x-axis is not going to be affected by motion along the y-axis. They are totally independent of each other. This basically is called as principle of physical independence. So these are some of the assumptions that we use in projectile motion. First of all, we consider there is no air resistance. Because if we take air resistance into account, then we can no longer take motion along the x-axis to be uniform motion. Then we consider that effect due to curvature of the earth is going to be negligible. We consider that effect due to rotation of the earth will be negligible. And we consider that at all points of the trajectory, which is the path of the projectile, we consider that the acceleration due to gravity remains the same. Now, coming to the equation of trajectory. Now, we have already seen projectile motion in many cases. So we know that path is parabolic in nature. It is not a straight line. It is not anything else, but the path is parabolic in nature. But how do we prove that? So to prove that, let's start analyzing the motion. So to analyze the motion, let's take a few physical quantities into consideration. So we consider x-axis, we consider y-axis. We consider as if we are giving the projectile some velocity which is at an angle to the horizon. So the projectile is projected, or it is given an initial velocity at a certain angle to the horizontal. So it will take a path somewhat like this. Now at this point, if the initial velocity given is u, what will be the component of velocity along x direction and what will be component of velocity along y direction? Please tell me.
Ma'am, along x
cos theta and u sin theta.
Okay, so if I take the rectangular components of this initial velocity, there will be one component along the angle of projection. So this would be u cos theta. We can easily see it is along the x-axis, and the other component, the other rectangular component would be u sine theta, which is along the y-axis. So we have u cos theta and u sine theta as two components of our initial velocity. Now, if I want to get the equation of trajectory, I come to my second equation of motion. Fine. But before we go there, let's see what would be the time. Suppose the body reaches some point P after a time T. Okay, suppose it has reached this point P after some time T. So what would be the time taken? So let's say x is the distance traveled and the time taken is T. So what would be, we know distance will be equal to velocity into time axis. Okay, there is no acceleration along the x-axis. Because of this, we can easily use this equation that distance traveled will be equal to velocity into time. Otherwise, I will need to take s is equal to ut plus half at square. I will need to take s is equal to ut plus half at square if I consider motion along the y-axis. But because I'm considering motion along the x-axis, I can simply use that the distance traveled would be the speed multiplied by time. So this becomes x equals to velocity along the x-axis is u cos theta into time. So this gives me the time as u cos theta upon x. Wait, x upon u cos theta, sorry. So time would be x upon u cos theta. Now why do we need the time? Basically because we started this derivation of the equation of trajectory. So equation, we are trying to find out what would be the path of the object. So to find out the path of the object, I need to remove the time factor from the equation of its whatever equation I'm finding. I need to remove the time factor from that. Only then I would be able to get the equation of a trajectory. So now after I've got the time, I know what would be the distance traveled along y-axis. It would be ut plus half at square. Now here I cannot use the formula that along the y-axis it would be simply velocity into time, because we know that along the y-axis motion is going to be an accelerated motion. Now what is uy? It's already given. Now let's look at ax. A acceleration along the x-axis is 0 and acceleration along the y-axis, what would be its value?
G.
It would be minus g. Okay, because हम देखो u sin theta को हमने positive लिया है, which is upwards. U cos theta we have taken positive, which is towards the right. So acceleration, which is acting downward, will be taken as minus g. Okay, so now just put in the values, all the values of u, uy, t, ay and t here. From equation 1 we are going to use the value of time. So along the y-axis we can see this would be u sin theta into time would be x by u cos theta minus g by 2 t square. So x square, u square, cos square theta. Got it? So if I reduce it to simplest form, this becomes u and u gets cancelled. So I get x sin upon cos is tan theta, x tan theta minus gx square by 2u square cos square theta. Now anybody who remembers the equation of a parabola?
ax square plus bx plus c.
Equation of a parabola in simplest term can be written as ax minus bx square, right? In simplest term, this is y equals to ax minus bx square can be written as equation of a parabola. So now if you look at the path covered along the y direction, you can easily see. So tan theta takes the value of a, and then we have an x. Then b की value क्या हो गई? G by 2u square cos square theta, and we have an x square. So we can compare the equation and see that this is nothing but equation of a parabola. So we can easily say that the path of a projectile is a parabola. Got it or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is how we prove that path of a projectile or trajectory of a projectile is a parabola. Other quantities that are of importance while discussing projectile motion. Another quantity is time of flight. Time of flight, basically, it is a total time taken like it is a total time taken for the projectile from the instant it is fired to the point it reaches its point of projection. So it is the total time taken from the instant of projection to the time it reaches its final destination. So basically we are firing the projectile from here. So till the point it reaches this total, it has covered this total distance. The whole time it took from the instant of projection to the final touching down on the ground. That is called as time of flight. Now this total distance which the object travels along the x-axis, the maximum distance which it travels along the x-axis is called as range of the projectile, meaning along the x direction how far it will go. What is the maximum distance it can cover along the x-axis? This point at which it reaches the highest point. This is called as maximum height. The maximum height is the distance along the y-axis which can be taken up by the projectile. It is the maximum distance along the y-axis which the projectile can reach. So coming back to our time of flight. Now if I want to find my time of flight, now what would be the displacement along the x-axis? Tell me.
U cos theta into t.
So there is bound to be some displacement along the, it will have some finite value, right? It is going from here, it is reaching, so there is some there is some path length between the final and initial position. But tell me, what about the displacement along y-axis? It started from this point, it has come back to the same point. So displacement along the y-axis is 0.
0.
Okay, so displacement along y-axis is 0. So I can easily write, and what is displacement along y-axis? It is uy t minus half ayt square. Now, please look at the notation I've used. I've used capital T to denote time of flight. This is the total time taken. Don't get confused it with this small t. This was at any instant where was the object at any particular time t. Now this t, capital T, is your total time of flight. So what is the value of uy? We will put uy as u sine theta into t minus half. मैंने minus पहले ही डाल दिया. Basically it would be minus g. This is uyt plus half ayt square. Now when I put ay as minus g, this becomes u sine theta into t minus half g t square as 0. So this gives me u sine theta t as 2u sine theta by g. So this is the total time for which the object was in motion. Fine. And this is very important. We are going to be, you need to remember it for your numericals. You need to remember it for your derivation of other quantities that we are going to find out. Understood how we have got time of flight? We have simply taken that whatever is the, we have taken that after the flight is over. After the flight is over, the net displacement along the y-axis would be 0. Because suppose you are throwing a ball and catching it. So if you have thrown the ball and you have caught it again, then its net displacement along the y-axis is 0. Now to find out the maximum height attained, can you suggest something? How can I find out what would be the maximum height attained? You have done numericals in class 9 regarding the same. At the maximum height.
With the help of equation of motion.
Second equation of motion.
Second equation of motion would be ut plus half at square. So इधर हम कैसे कर सकते हैं बताइए?
Ma'am, by putting the value of time of flight.
Time of flight is the total time taken.
Ma'am, by dividing it by 2.
Yes, we can either take that the motion is going to be symmetrical. So if the total time taken is, if the total time taken is 2u sine theta by g, then for maximum height, the time taken would be half of the total time taken. So u sine theta by g. So putting this value of time in the second equation of motion will give you the answer, or there is a much easier way. We know what happens to the velocity at the highest point.
0.
Ma'am, the perpendicular component becomes
0.
Yes, the velocity along y-axis is going to be 0. The horizontal component will not be affected by it, but velocity along the y-axis becomes 0, the final velocity. So Vy, put it as 0, Uy will be u sine theta, Ay would be minus g, and T is what we have to find out. So this gives me the time
minus u sine theta. Is from u sine theta by g.
It would be u sine theta by g.
G.
तो अभी तो हमारे पास टाइम आया, ठीक है? We have just got the time. So what would be the maximum height attained? So इतने time में how much distance it travels? That will give me the maximum height attained, right? Maximum height attained would be in this much time, no? So if I put this in value of Sy, Uyt plus half gt square, sorry, Ayt square. I'll have to erase this board, sorry. So once I've got the time as u sine theta by g. This is the time it takes to reach the maximum height. So now I can simply use motion along the y-axis. So I am using the second equation of motion. Put the value of time as u sine theta. So this would be u sine theta. Value of uy. Value of t would be u sine theta by g minus half g, and for t square I put u square sine square theta by g square. So I get u square sine square theta by g minus this g and g will get cancelled, minus half u square sine square theta, which will give me maximum height attained as u square sine square theta by 2g. This would be the maximum height attained by the projectile. So to find out the maximum height attained, what we do is we first find what was the time taken to reach that height. We can find that time taken by using the concept that motion is going to be symmetrical, or we can use the fact that at the maximum height the velocity along y-axis would be 0. Any of the concepts we can use to find out the time for the time taken to reach the maximum height, and after that just use that time to find out how much distance the object has traveled along the y-axis in that time interval, which is u sine theta by g, which will give you the maximum height attained. Next is range.
And
I think time is over, so you can go ahead with your next class. And range, you can simply use the fact that whatever will be the total time, multiplied by the velocity along the x-axis, that will give you the range of the projectile. So total time came out to be 2u sine theta by g, and velocity along x-axis is u cos theta. So I get 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta. 2 sine theta cos theta is sine 2 theta. So I get u square sine 2 theta by g as the range of the projectile.